Hi, and welcome to a rather interesting lecture where we will speak about performance issues and how to project production Elasticsearch cluster. As you remember, shard is a logical and physical division of index, but in fact that is a Lucene index under the hood. You can say, what? How can it be, and what is that Lucene? Apache Lucene is a free and open source library that was originally written completely in Java, and it is supported by Apache Software Foundation. In life, it is always better to use already solutions than reinvent the bicycle. And Elasticsearch creators choose the route with the least resistance, which is natural. So as you see, if you look rather deep inside, we can come to the conclusion that Elasticsearch is a super-powered Lucene manager with some additional functions and a super good REST API. And all that makes the tool so popular at the market. Okay, let's return to our slides. And you may ask me why I'm talking about so low-level things. That is because Lucene has to search through all its segments in sequence, not in parallel. Having a little number of segments improves search performance. You may say, okay, then we can have only one several segments. Not to the end. Little amount of segments with a lot of data transforms automatically in big size for every segment. And segments are constantly rearranged during delete update operations. Big segment size can negatively affect the cluster ability to recover from failure, or you simply can meet with the disk space problems during segments merging. The deal is the segment is immutable, and while merging two segments in one, Lucene has to prepare a coding free space that equals to both of segment size. So as a result, choosing the right number of shards is important, the same as choosing the storage space. So how to choose it in a right way? At first you have to know your storage requirements. There is a formula that can help us to calculate it in correct way. So that is how it looks like. Minimum storage requirements for Elasticsearch, that is the size of your source data. You can make some initial index of your data and have a look at a disk, how many gigabytes it takes. Then we have to add our number of replicas, because that would be the copy of our source data. And then there is a special coefficient. If you are interested in how is it calculated, I can say shortly that it takes in consideration different overheads, like merging the segments, which we mentioned in the previous slide, and the index overhead by itself. The deal is that Elasticsearch uses a little bit more space than source data takes in reality. And that coefficient takes in consideration all that overheads. So from one side, large shards can make it difficult for Elasticsearch to recover from failure. It also can cause different disk problems. From another side, because each shard uses some amount of CPU and memory, having too many small shards can cause performance issues and out-of-memory errors. In other words, shards should be small enough that the underlying Elasticsearch instance can handle them, but not so small that they place needless strain on the hardware. There is a golden rule that appeared from practice, and you can find that recommendation in different sources. Try to keep your shard size between 10 and 50 gigabits. Remember that insufficient storage space is one of the most common causes of cluster instability. So now we deal with storage size. And what about shard size? Despite we know that shard size should be between 10 and 50, we still have to calculate it properly. And here is the coding formula. The appropriate number of primary shards is equal to our source data plus room to grow and plus our indexing overhead. That is mostly 10%, so you can take it like 1.1 coefficient and decide shard size. So let's take some example. Let's assume that our source data is 25 gigabits and we expect growing within the next year 25 gigabits more. So we are taking that 50 and multiply it 1.1, and we assume that we want to take a shard like 20 gigabits, and finally we are getting 3 primary shards. Why we are adding here a room to grow? Remember that we can set primary shards only before creating index, and it can be changed after. You may change the number of replicas dynamically, but not the number of primary shards. That is why we have to take into consideration the index growth if we don't want to recreate the index constantly and reindex our whole data. So while having number of shards, you may choose the number of instances. In that case, we can easily start with 3-node cluster solutions. But there is still one essential thing: hardware. And believe me, there is no golden rule here. All depends on how you are going to use Elasticsearch. But here is some essential notes. First of all, that is CPU. If you are going to run complex filtered queries or some intensive indexing, then you have to have powerful CPU resources. Memory, that is the biggest problem, as Elasticsearch is written in Java, so it is essential to set the Java virtual machine heap correctly. The more heap available, the more memory it can use for caches, but then less memory leaves available for operational system and file system cache. Also, large heaps can cause longer garbage collection pauses. From my practice, I recommend to set minimum and maximum EVM heap no more than 50% of your physical RAM. Next point is network. Elasticsearch performs a lot of network consuming operations, from transferring data during queries to relocating shards, so network matters. 1 gigabit is good, but 10 is much more better. And storage. For sure it is preferable to have new disks, SSDs and HDD, and file system also essential, as Lucene creates a lot of different segments and constantly make operations around them. So in case using Linux system, ext is okay, but if you are going to use big segments, maybe you have to think about some another file systems equal XFS. So as you can see, there are a lot of different parameters and there is no golden rule how to prepare ideal Elasticsearch cluster for production, and all depends on different cases at your data, how you are going to use your data, which queries are you going to use, would it be mostly some filters or you are going to perform some aggregations. You will have constantly experiments to reach some perfect solution, and while providing your experiments you have to constantly monitor your cluster. So what are the most essential parameters for monitoring? So first of all, that is node CPU, RAM and disk write-read operations. You have to monitor it constantly. Another thing that is a cluster health. As we already know, it can be in 3 states, green, yellow and red. And you can use cluster health API for that checks. Another essential thing that is query and fetch rate and also a search latency. Several words about that rates. The deal is that request process at Elasticsearch is divided into 2 phases. The first is the query phase, during which the cluster distributes the request to each shard, each primary or replica within the index. During the second fetch phase, the results are gathered, compiled and returned to the user. Typically, the fetch phase takes less time than the query phase, so if it is increasing, make sure to investigate since it may indicate problems with the index Elasticsearch node itself or underlying hardware. Next parameter, that is refresh, merge and flush statistics. You also can get it from index name stats API. Several words about refresh. As documents are updated, edited and removed from the index, the cluster needs to continually update their indexes and then refresh them across all the nodes. All of this taken care by the cluster, and a user have limited control over this process. Always then to configure the refresh interval rate. So you should monitor the number and duration of refresh operations. If time of the refresh increases, it means that your cluster is not able to keep up with operations and you may need to increase the refresh interval rate. So trade how quickly your data is visible for session and stability. Additions, updates and deletions are batched and flushed to disk as new segments, and as each segment consumes resources, it is important for performance that smaller segments are consolidated and merged into larger segments. Like indexing, this is managed by cluster itself. The number of merge operations in their account can and should be measured. Increasing time and number of merges performed by Elasticsearch usually lowers the indexing through output, and it is one of the common performance bottlenecks. In such cases, configuration adjustments, rolling indexes, or reconsidering the sharding strategy may be needed. The next essential parameter is thread pools. The deal is Java is working with different thread pools for performing different operations, and you have to monitor different rejected threads. If you will notice it at node stats API, then something is no yes, and you have to investigate your cluster. Generally, I will show you in a moment how that statistical response from Elasticsearch cluster looks like, and we'll show you all the parameters. But let's finish with other things for monitoring. So you also have to check the field data cache node query cache. The field data cache is used for field data to enable using aggregations on selected text fields and also for the global ordinals. Both of the mentioned data structures are kept on heap and the cache is by default unbounded, so it is very important to monitor the memory usage of this cache. Extensive use of this cache on large datasets may lead to memory issues and as a result make your node and cluster unstable. The node query cache is shared between all the shards on a given node and caches the results of the queries used in the filter context. It can be very useful if your filter context queries are repeated. In such cases, the contents of the node query cache can be reused to increase the performance on queries. By default, the node query cache is enabled and is allowed to use up to 10% of memory of the node. In addition, you have also to take care about Java Virtual Machine health by itself. Check your logs at errors regularly. There is also a good practice to turn on ElasticSearch slow queries to investigate your weak places at queries by itself. As you can see, you have to monitor rather a lot of different things. Now I want to show you how the responses from a coding statistical API looks like and where should you pay your attention at. So here is an example of node stats response, and that is data from real production cluster. So you can see different parameters here like search options, merge, that is query cache, we already filled about it, and field data, we already mentioned it. There is also a memory used at that machine. Currently here we have 30% free. Different Java Virtual Machine configurations. And there is a thread pools I mentioned. Here please pay attention that all rejected properties are equal to 0. In case it is not so, then you have to investigate your cluster, and as probably it is already unstable and can process all requests. There is also another API that is index stats, and here again you can see some real data from production cluster, and again you have some statistics for search, merges, refresh, flush operations, also query cache, field data information, plus in segments. Let's return to our slides now. So now you know how to check your cluster's health and different important statistics and which parameters should you pay attention while running your ElasticSearch cluster at production. That's all I wanted to tell you about monitoring. And there is one more thing I simply must mention, and that is backups. Despite having a high availability cluster, it is always good to have some backups in addition. For that purpose, ElasticSearch has a snapshots mechanism. Here is the official page. Let's skip to it. So in case using cloud providers, you will not have to take care a lot about backups or even monitoring, as in most cases you have it out of the box. But if you still have to support it by yourself, please read how to configure it in a proper way using that documentation. That is the end of that lecture. Thank you for being with me. Hope that the current lecture will help you to create an optimal ElasticSearch cluster at production for your data and for your cases. At the next lecture, we will speak about how to index millions of documents in the most efficient way. Hope to see you soon.